everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am Jewel Diamond Taylor, your host of my series called Inner Views. That's right, getting on the inside, understanding what makes people tick, what drives them, what they find is their purpose, what is their background, what are the things and hurdles they've overcome, successes they've achieved. And I'm excited today to have a reunion with this brother that has had me on his radio show a couple of times. And I'm so grateful that we are still connected. And some of you heard him speak at one of my earlier Women on the Grow conferences. Would you help me welcome Brother Wes Hall? How you doing, brother?
Amazing, amazing, blessed and highly favored. How are you, Jewel?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great. In spite of all of the things that are happening, the disruption of our lives, the concerns, the uncertainty, the pressures, I still want to bring forth a positive frequency. I want to bring forth inspiration. And I thought of you. But first of all, Wes, we've sat side by side in the studio on radio. I've sat at your feet and listened to you speak. But I want to get to know, who is Wes Hall? I love it when I get to talk to my male peers and they can help the women that I interact with, and women I counsel, the women I coach, the women who cry on my shoulders, the women that have all these questions. What is it that women need to understand? And I know it's a lot, but just what comes up? What's one point that you would say women need to understand this about men, the way you're wired? And I know that's a broad statement, but still, I want to hear from you. Tell me something that we need to get more clearer understanding and stop wrestling with it and accept this truth.
Okay, well, the dynamic of the shift that has occurred right now brings a challenge for men and women in terms of just the time frame we live in, right? Because what happens is that mama created a woman who would never go through what mama went through, right? So mama created this independent woman. And at the same time, and I'm generalizing, at the same time, mama sheltered a boy who came up as a man who'd been sheltered. So the dynamics have shifted in terms of the responsibility of the woman and who she is right now, to where this man, in many times, is an underachiever. And I'm generalizing, I'm not saying all men. So now the woman has taken on many of the responsibilities that ultimately is what the man would do. I'm talking about in the Black culture particularly.
Yes.
So let me help you. Let me bring it home for the women that are listening. I think T.D. Jakes may have summed it up and gave a great illustration when he said two things. A woman doesn't want affection. She needs affection. A man doesn't want respect. He needs respect. And so there's an illustration about a car. You don't put gasoline in your car because you like gasoline. You put gasoline in your car because it needs gasoline. So therefore, if a woman really wants to master, or a man wants to master relationships, those variables, you cannot breach them. In other words, if you leave your woman too long without affection, you might see her arguing in other ways, or doing other things, or separating, or the roast beef doesn't get cooked, right?
Right, it gets burned.
It gets burned because because you're not giving her the affection. If you're not respecting your man, if he's third or fourth on your list, say for instance, you've got children, so your children are first. You've got your parents, so your parents are second. You got your girls, because your girls are third. You got a dog. You got a church, and your church, church, and your church is fourth. You got a dog, and your dog is fifth. And then somewhere down the line, is your man.
You're teaching, and what I would like for you to give me an example of what does respect look like. Where do you see that women are disrespecting, and they don't even realize that is the language that you are speaking? How do we do that? How do we disrespect? Give me a couple of examples.
A lot of times, a woman will there's no filter. Whatever she thinks, she says. Right.
Okay.
And so she measures herself against that man, and certain things that she says to him, when she looks, if a woman looks at respect, she can think about her dad or whatever male. She has to ask herself a critical question: what male do you respect? And then what do you afford him in alignment with that respect? Now, a lot of times they'll come back and they'll talk about their jobs because I get money from my job, my dad because he's worthy of respect. You know, they'll have these analogies that they use, but then then you ask them, then why doesn't your man deserve that?
Yeah.
Well, you know, what Joel, what it comes down to is, for many women in 2020, the man is expendable. We live in what I
Yeah.
call we live in what I call the era of next. This is
You
the
are,
era of
you
this
know what? I'm gonna slap you. I'm gonna
this is the
slap you.
this is the era of next.
I'm
It's
gonna
called
slap you. Yes.
Joel. It's called next.
Yes.
Next.
It's
Next.
like people, they just give up so quickly,
Yes.
and they
Yeah.
feel like, well, I've got options. And
Yeah.
like you said, if
Right.
a woman becomes very independent,
Yeah.
self-sufficient, can
Yeah.
buy her own house, buy her
Yeah.
own car,
Right.
buy her own diamond ring,
Yes.
uh, and don't, what do I need a man for? What
Right.
do I need? He's
Yeah.
disposable.
It's transactional.
There
Everything
you
is
go.
transactional now. So if he does this, I'll do that. You know, I've got a guy with me who takes care of this part of what I
This
need.
part, yeah,
This
yeah,
part,
yeah,
this part,
yeah.
and that's how she sees him. He takes care of this part. And let me take it easy on the ladies too, because unfortunately, a lot of times we are living in times where men have not reached their apex or their pinnacle, or they're not even striving to do so. A
Mhm.
lot of the things they're dependent upon is the woman to take care of things in certain capacities because that's what he's used to. And
Yes.
so, and we have to help our single moms not create boys who end up being dependent all their lives. We have to say to single moms, listen, that child is like a diamond, and his good stuff only comes out under pressure.
Come on.
The man that he is supposed to become only comes out under pressure. So you can't be selfish, mom, because the only man that stays around you is your son. You can't be selfish and make him be whatever you need in terms of that masculinity. So many single moms, I'm in education, so I deal with a lot of parent training. And
Yes.
so many single moms are nurturing that boy in that space. And what they don't realize is the element of masculinity that is housed in that boy,
Mm-hmm.
because he starts to try to dominate the mom after a while.
Mm.
He's almost like her man. She'll give him special places in the house. She'll do things for him all the way up to the years where he's supposed to learn how to be a man. He's supposed to take hard knocks, supposed to have bruises, supposed to learn what defeat is, so he can overcome those things. If he's
And I
in a
think a lot of young boys,
Mhm,
men,
mhm,
and women,
mhm.
what's missing is we don't have rites of passage.
Ah,
We don't have systems in place
yes,
to
sister.
usher them into a new season. And let me say,
Yep,
it's not just the single moms,
yep.
it's the married mothers too.
That's true too.
I'm a mother
That's
of a
true.
son, and I
Yep,
have to constantly hear this message and drive it home for
yep.
myself. This is so powerful. I just have a couple more questions for
Sure.
my interview. Thank you for
Mhm.
allowing me to go inside of your history, your mind,
Yeah,
your soul,
yeah,
your
yeah.
teaching. Uh, what is it that the brothers that are watching this,
Mhm,
what would you tell them about how to take care of their peace of mind, their sanity, their
mhm,
mental health? What
mhm,
is, do you have any practices that you
mhm,
do
mhm.
to center yourself, to bring
Yeah.
yourself back?
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, everything is mission driven. And for those who aren't in contact with their purpose, I would say that for them to take some real self time, some real alone time, and to look to ask God to connect with their purpose.
Yes,
First of
yes,
all, for them to find a higher power. If you don't have a higher power, you're a boat without a rudder. That's simple. It's cliche. It sounds like something for someone else, but I'll tell you, we each came to this planet with a gift. My gift is my voice. My gift is my ability to teach and train. And so my sanity is housed in the things that I know I can do, what I'm here for, a specific
yes,
reason. I
yes.
connect with God all the time. He leads me, and that's my space I occupy. And I love to work. So I'm a servant in the field, right? And so by giving to so many others, I get that back all the time in opportunities and with people.
You know what I'm hearing, Wes? I'm connecting the dots.
Mm-hmm.
That when our lost young men and women are looking for the next high through
Mm-hmm.
chemical, it's
Mm-hmm.
because they're not getting that natural high.
That's right.
That dopamine.
That's right.
That you
That's
are getting.
right, Jewel. That's
You
right.
know, that's that hormone
Right.
that we can access when we
Yes.
are doing what we love and we are serving. So when I
Yes.
see people that are lost and
Right.
they're looking for that next high, that next pair of shoes, that
Right.
next set,
Yes.
that next game, you know, the next drink, the next party, is because they haven't found that thing that wakes them out of the bed.
That's it.
Without an alarm clock.
That's,
I don't even have an alarm clock.
Right. I don't either. And so, but watch what you said, Jewel. Yesterday, I was on my Zoom with LA high school students and TMZ, the entertainment television, TMZ, were special guests on my Zoom with my kids yesterday, right? And then last week, or well, a few weeks ago, I reached out to a law firm and told them I wanted to do a nonprofit to help young men of color. They said, well, we normally charge $20,000, but we'll waive the $20,000 and we'll get your 501c3 started. So they're doing it pro bono, right? I mean, today I've got with Avery Dennison Foundation, we've got a scholarship conversation where they're giving us another $5,000. We can go now match that with 20 other companies for $100,000. So you're right. When you're living within your purpose, that's the high that you get because you're helping so many other people to live their dreams too.
I love what Emerson, he said, when you do what you love, the universe will give you bread.
Yes. You know, God, what God calls for, he provides for. And when you understand, it sounds cliche, Jewel, to leave the earth better off than before you came.
That's right.
But we live in people. Every time someone calls Jewel Diamond Taylor or texts you and says, I just want to say thank you. You probably don't remember me. But my life
happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
It gives me chills.
It gives you
I'm like, who are you? Where was I? What did I do? What did I say? Because you're like apple seed, just planting seeds.
So when you think about that, the essence of Jewel Diamond Taylor is living in another human being, unbeknownst to you, and that seed that you planted now comes to fruition, and they have to call and say, I want to tell you what that seed did.
I'm gonna slap you. I'm gonna slap you.
Listen, Jewel, I want to tell you what that seed did that you planted and you walked away and lived your life. But this seed grew up in me, and now I want you to see who I've become as a result of.
Come on. The piece of God in me helped to wake up the piece of God in them. Come on.
Like Elizabeth when Mary showed up and the baby jumped and John jumped, the baby sleeps. Come on now. Yeah.
But this has been so exciting. I knew this was going to be juicy. I knew it was going to be stimulating. And I love that saying you used to always tell me when I was on your show, shut up and keep talking.
Shut up and keep talking. That's when you know, look, Jewel, that's when you know you hit the sweet spot, right?
That's right. Shut up,
because you know, at some point, the conversations that we have with people move past the verbal into the living water, right? To when information just rolls out of you and a person receives it in due season, and all of a sudden it resonates with who they are, and they, you know, and all of a sudden now, when you talk about living water, the person who couldn't see says, I see what you're saying. Or the person who couldn't hear says, keep talking. I hear what you're saying, right? Yeah. Or the person who was dead to their possibilities all of a sudden get quickened through the word, and now all of a sudden they keep talking. I'm standing up with it, right?
Yes.
And so that's what we're here to do.
That's so exciting.